Surface Men Retro Glam, to be able to take old Hollywood to our man of today, trend, active, and business. The first thing when we work into our haircut, I want to protect the hair, give me a little bit more control as I'm sectioning, reduce the need for some clips, so I work with the Trinity Tonic. When we're coming into our side, and the biggest difference with the old Hollywood feel is when we're sectioning to get our real strong masculine line and our disconnect, is we section down lower into the back. So I've come in through my side ridge, and now we drop the section down to the top of the occipital bone, which is going to allow us a lot more of a fluid line and a real blend to the back. As I go to scissor over comb in through my back line, my thumb is on the bottom, my first finger on top, and we're working with the 7-inch flare thumb swivel. Thumb on the bottom, first finger on top, get Ryan to look straight ahead there. I'm going to use the finer teeth of the comb and always tip the teeth away as we're cutting. He's quite tight here already, but I'm just giving it a little bit of a different angle. I'm coming tighter in behind the eye and angling as I move to the back. And you'll see this line squares straight up. And I'm coming around, just cleaning that line he has, but the biggest difference is dropping this down into the top of the occipital bone. Thumb on the bottom, first finger on top. Let's continue to just lightly clean that up and angle it away. As I move into the back now, I'll only let him look down at about a 10-degree angle. If I push the head down too far, the skin comes too tight and I get too hard of a line there. So let's come in and lightly clean this up. Lightly clean that line up. And we don't really have too much to take off here, but you're seeing we're getting a lot nicer, finer line to it. Now, before we move to the opposite side, while I'm here, I'm going to use a technique called dusting. And that's the difference between good and, I believe, and great. Instead of having these ends grow out square to the scissor over comb, they're softly tapered. Thumb on the bottom, first finger on top, and let's come in and dust this back now, right in the direction that I want this to be growing. Coming in through my back line and shatter that down. In through my nape, what I'm going to do is lift that hair up and lightly shatter it in the direction we're going to grow. And even with Ryan's sideburn, I'm going to create that real shadowing technique. Now, when we're coming in to the line around the ear, I'm just lightly going to arch and clean around there. And that's where the swivel really comes in handy. The 180 swivel allows me to really arch, and the hair is held out with the comb, and then I can cut in behind it. What we'll do now is we'll move this same technique where it drops down to the top of the occipital bone, and we'll scissor over comb the opposite side. We've scissor over combed the sides, the back, and now we're going to move into the top. And here's a really big difference too. When we're working with the retro glam look, we want that real masculine edge. So when I create my layers on the top, the layers will always start from the part side. I never want a 90 layer, I always want to work directional. So let's come over top of the eye, let's lift up this disconnect, and short pushes long away. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this disconnect, and it's going to be lightly shorter in the front and get longer as I move to the back. And you'll notice that I've moved to our surface razor here. The silica guard gives me total protection, and the reason I moved to the razor is I want a softer edge. I want it to be able to be a little more fluid, a little more flowing, not lay too tight. So I created my guide through the top. Now I'll work on a diagonal, picking that guide up and getting just slightly longer as I move to the side. So that short hair always pushes that long hair away. And if you haven't had a chance to see the men's core barbering DVD that we produced, please take the time to look at it. The Surface Men Barbering DVD really gives you the 3 core haircuts for men and the foundation to build all trend from. So working shorter over top of where's going to be my part line to longer. Now let's focus on what's going to happen on the corner, because the tendency is all too often to round the edge off. That's the biggest mistake that can be done on men's hair. Got to leave the corner. So when I'm coming up to my section across the top, we will lift this disconnect right up, pick the line up, and leave the corner in. Leave that weight line for us to really work with. And you'll see that the retro glam feel, that old Hollywood feel, whether we style it in the gelled business look whether we style it in the active or the trend look, those corners really give the masculine edge. So at this point, let's drop the line down and find out where we can work some perimeter from. Find our natural part line, take the hair up, and I'm going to take the razor just like penciling, and I'm going to work slightly shorter in the front and pencil that line to the back. So that short pushes the long away. As I get into the back here, and here's the difference between our traditional disconnect that we had too. Being that this section moves down, let's continue that outer perimeter line down. Moving to the opposite side, take my section down. This is my heavier side. Lay the eye down right behind the eye. Take the surface razor, not on top but underneath, and we bevel this back. Again, the shortest point is in the front so that we can push this back and push it away. And a soft shattered line. I don't want to use the scissor here because I want that nice softness to be able to push that edge back. Now, when I come into the back, and this is something that's a little different from the traditional disconnect, I'm going to come in, take my section down, and I'll take this corner and I start to razor in to the head. I want a little bit more of a bevel. So I'm going to take the line down, and I lightly bevel that corner so it starts to really hug the head. It blends nicer that way. So let's take this line down and lightly shatter that. And you'll see the technique I'm using is holding the hair between my knuckles and rolling my knuckles away to really hug that blend line into the head. Take that line down and lightly hug that line in. So I've got a beautiful flow line now, and I have to make a decision. Ryan's got a little bit heavier hair, especially in through the back. So I want to take some of the weight, but I don't want the line to go away. So that's where we're going to go into the surface razored blender. And we've created a blender at surface that has a perfectly razored toothed edge. So when we blend the edge off, it doesn't just separate the hair, it cuts it into a fine point. Now the technique here is also very important. Thumb on the bottom, first finger on top. Let's lift this weight line through and we're going to run it. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. And we run that all the way to the ends. So I've maintained that really nice bevel, but I've taken that extra weight away. Now, you can see the taper we've got here is falling in wonderful, but if you do have that hairline that moves a little bit and it's too heavy, you can take the surface razored edge blender and lightly run that through as well. And the key when you're working with your blender is running it. And you'll love the blender because it's got that swivel that you can work left, you can work right, you can work your edges with. And the key is the razored tooth that lays that right in for you. Now, to make sure that we've got that old Hollywood really clean line for our outer perimeter, we'll come in with just a little bit of the Basu oil in my palm, and then the men's shave cream. And the men's shave cream has come such a star product for men because it helps them tone, it helps them exfoliate, and whether you've got the most rugged beard or you've got the most sensitive skin, you're really able to get an amazing shave from it. Now, on this neckline, I'm going to clean up all the rough edges, and I don't want to block back like we would see, like that square edge. I want it real natural. So we take in the shave cream, then we take the surface razor and make sure there's no tension on the neckline. And what I'm going to do now is just lightly clean my outer perimeter line. So we take that line down, take that nice and clean. And you'll see the razor, it just cuts wonderfully. It takes it really nice and clean. And this is a great time to be able to educate Ryan that he should be using the Surface Men's Shave Cream at home, as well as the face, body wash, shampoo, all in one. Gives him toning, gives him exfoliation, and gives him great conditioning on the hair as well. So cleaning that line up, the next thing is we're ready to style. For the active, natural man, Surface Mud is your styling choice. I'll get you to hang on to that for me for a second. I'll take the mud, I lightly work it in my hands, in between my fingers. It can be used both wet and be dry. And I work it right from base to ends. The flax and the bamboo fibers replace traditional plastics and give me a really natural, soft, matte finish. Now, Ryan can let his hair dry natural, he can blow dry it, and he's just got a very, very soft, controlled type of a look. Now the Surface Men's Mud gives you texture, gives you control, a very natural feel for that active look when it's wet. When it's dry, I can get a little bit more, and again, natural detailing. For that real active man who doesn't like a lot of hold into his hair, take the mud and you'll see it's a beautiful fiber paste between the flax and the bamboo fibers, and now a very, very, very light texture hold that I get to the hair. With the taper, I like to run it in through the sides as well. For our old Hollywood trend look, we're going to work with the real pompadour style, and the ultimate styling product will be the Surface Dry Wax, the shaping tool for that trend look. But to start with, to really pump the hair up on the top, we're going to use a little bit of thickening cream. Thickening cream puts a botanical fiber around the hair, really giving its maximum fullness. So what we'll do is we'll just take the Awaken thickening cream, we'll run it through the hair, and then I'll take my hand and just lightly blow dry everything back, and you'll see a tremendous fullness. Then it's up to the Surface Dry Wax to come in and really shape, mold, and control. The Awaken thickening cream really plumps the hair up, it thickens it up for us. And now one last little cutting detail that I saved to share with you here. For the times when he does want to wear that real pompadour style, what we'll do is we'll come in, and right where that disconnect is, we run just a soft little blend. And as you can see, I'm taking off ever so little hair. So it'll be able to wear down in the active or the business look, but right here I'm just giving a little bit more of a frame. And we're going to do that on both sides for it. So I'll come into the opposite side, and you'll see here too with this trend look, we flip the part side to take advantage of some shorter hair underneath, really lifting up for us. So I've got that little bit of a frame that we've shaped in there for Ryan, just that little bit of a support. And now it's the dry wax that we want to look with for the trend look. Now I'm going to have my guest, Ryan, actually apply it. I want to show you how important it is to really educate the guests on the point of difference. So Ryan, just take your thumb and push it back. The men's dry wax is 100% water-free, which means it stays clean to the touch and resistant to humidity and perspiration. It's extremely hard. And when he puts it in his hand now, what happens is the carnauba wax is melted by the babassu oil. So get it into his hands, he melts it, pop it up, show it up to camera here how it just melted through. Now just take it and run it through your hair yourself, Ryan. So you can see it stays really nice and flexible, and the key to that is he knows how to apply it. The difference here from the mud is now I've got more hold. I've got more shape to that hair. So we've got that real waxed base. The Surface Dry Wax is the ultimate shaping tool for trends of today. Organic babassu oil melts the carnauba wax and the bamboo fiber, providing the perfect weight of dry wax to shape and hold the hair. The Surface Dry Wax is 100% water-free, which means it stays clean to the touch and resistant to humidity and perspiration. Surface Hard Gel is the businessman choice styler. Extremely firm, shiny, this organic gel of sugars, bamboo, and amaranth protein is water activated. It is so hard that you must have a damp hand prior to being able to apply it. You'll also find that the natural no-flake formula may be softened with some dry wax afterwards for a more relaxed evening look. But now, do not put it into the dry hand. The hand has to be damp. And in fact, I'll take it, I'll mist my hand. It's got just a little bit of dampness, and now I'll apply about the size of a nickel. And Ryan, I'll get you to hang on to that for me. I'll take it, and now it spreads beautifully. If I put it in my dry hand, it feels just like contact cement. So here, let's take the hard gel through the hair. Having had the palm wet and the hair wet, it spreads absolutely wonderfully. And as a hot tip, I suggest actually misting your guest's hand and put the hard gel in his hand and have him apply it. Instantly, you see I control the hair, I slick it back for that clean look. It'll dry hard, it dries shiny. Also, if he wants to be a little bit more retro Hollywood, he could come in and just even put in that little bit of a side part.